Hey there, Shelly. Let's see what you've done in this new set of essays. Some people believe that children that commit crimes should be punished. Others think that parents should be punished. Discuss both views. Okay. In the last decade, the phenomenon of children committing crimes, the phenomenon. All right, you got to be careful here because I have to fix the grammar here. Let me try it again. All right, so let's change this. In the last decade, the phenomenon of children committing crimes has been increasing. There are some people who advocate punishing these children, while others think penalties should be put on parents instead. Full stop. This is then implied. Personally, I agree. Personally, I agree that parents are responsible. Yeah, not to undergo. You see, even Word underlined this for me. So personally, I agree that parents are the ones who should be punished. Or personally, I agree that parents are accountable. It's another really good word to use. Okay, and then you're fine. Let's see what else you said. On one hand, when it comes to educating. You see, the to here does not mean full infinitive. The to is actually a preposition. And after prepositions, we always put an ing. So on one hand, when it comes to educating minors who commit crimes, the reasonable way is to make good use of mentorship and counseling. This is because minors are too young and they are not mature enough to undertake some strict punishment. It's not Lee because you need an adjective here, not an adverb. All right, let me see what you're saying. Of punishment is to teach convicts to behave well. However, when these penalties are pressed on children, they would backfire. According to research carried out by the United Nations, minor penalties lead to that these minors end up suffering from more severe misbehaved behavior. All right. I don't think you mean minor penalties here. I think you mean something else because minor penalties makes it sound like you're saying small penalties. I don't think that's what you mean. I think you mean that penalties placed on minors leads them to suffering and expressing more severe behavior because the punishment treats them with no respect or dignity at a young age, which eventually is not beneficial to a child's self-esteem. All right, now we cleaned up the grammar, but you can see it's still a very long sentence. So I would encourage you to break it down into smaller pieces, make it a little more manageable. You had a lot of ideas in this one sentence. So break it up. When this kind of thing happens, it's very easy to make a mistake. And so sometimes if you just aim for more accuracy and smaller sentences, the meaning is much clearer. And essentially that's what you're looking for, making sure that your meaning comes across, okay? Okay. Obviously, there is every possibility that putting punishment on children will completely destroy their good character and ruin their lives. Okay. Let's see this again. Part of my concern here is that a lot of this really reads very absolute. So the penalties leads to this happening. The punishment treats them with no respect. This is not beneficial. It will completely destroy their character. So it's all very absolute, and there's no hedging. There is no acceptance that, well, this could happen. Well, yeah, this may be a problem, and that's what you need to do. You don't want to sound so absolute. You want to kind of temper some of your arguments and make them sound a little softer. Let me show you what I mean. According to research carried out by the United Nations, penalties on minors can lead to these children suffering with more poor behavior because punishments often treat them with no respect and dignity. Full stop. This can be detrimental to a child's self-esteem. So it can be, okay? Obviously, there is every possibility that putting punishment on children may completely destroy their character and ruin their lives. Okay, so this is what you want to do. You don't want to be so absolute about it. Okay. On the other hand, it is parents' responsibility, singular, to teach their children to be good to the society, encouraging them to behave well. The encouragement and, I don't know what you mean here, companionship from parents are important to help children behave with good manners. At the same time, building up a good example by parents can also have a huge positive influence on children's character building. However, nowadays, some parents concentrate on their work, ignoring their family commitments to spend enough time accompanying their children, which gradually leads to those children beginning to misbehave and eventually suffering from falling convictions of committing crimes. Again, it's all really absolute. Okay, it can happen, it may happen. In addition, there are some parents who enjoy spoiling their children, which definitely contributes to forming the children's behavior with bad manners. Therefore, parents' irresponsible behavior may be the source of minors' convictions, and they should be punished to be responsible for the deficiency of their duty. All right, this is a little awkward here. So my concern, let me think about this for a second. So, okay, my concern about this was that you argued something, and that's fine, and that's good. You kind of went about it like from the bottom up rather than from the top down. I don't know if that makes sense, but you basically were talking about the responsibility a parent has. That's what this whole paragraph was about. Parents have to do this, parents have to do that, parents have to do that. The essay didn't ask you that, okay? So they had to do this, and some parents don't do this, and some parents don't do that, and some parents spoil their kids. And then you said, basically you ended with, because of this, if their kid becomes a criminal, the parent is responsible. So I wanted you to do it the other way around, all right? Make it very clear that parents should be accountable for their children's criminal behavior because they are the ones who are responsible if their child missteps. And then you can talk about this, saying how and when the parents are responsible. For example, if a parent lets their child go out until all hours of the day and night with no supervision and their child commits a crime, then the parent should be responsible. If the child steals the parent's keys to the car or steals a weapon from the parents and then does something illegal, well, then the parent should not have, left these things easily accessible to the child. Therefore, the parent should be responsible and punished for this reckless behavior. So this is kind of how you need to structure your arguments. Like, why is the parent responsible? What does the kid do? And why the parent should be responsible? Like, what's your reasoning for this? And that's how you develop this, okay? All right, so in conclusion, punishments should be taken on parents rather than children. These penalties can enable and deter parents. No. So these penalties can enable parents to become responsible for their children's *s education. I strongly believe that with available guidance and intimate company from parents, every child will be well behaved. Okay, fine. You can't say enable and deter to become. That didn't make sense. So can enable parents to become is fine. Okay, so your colleague presentation, let's see what you wrote. Conference, why, and what arrangements. All right. Dear Wency, hope this letter finds you well. I'm writing to ask you to give a presentation for a conference, which is about our latest online game. The conference will be held in our main conference room on the 20th of August. The manager and some customers will take part in this meeting. It aims to introduce the new functionalities and features of this online game, no S, by presenting a presentation. That's a little repetitive. Careful with this language. Let's see. It aims to introduce the new functionalities and features of this online game by presenting them in a PowerPoint or by presenting them in a video. The whole time for this meeting will be 2 hours. Your group leader, hold on. All right. Your group leader introduces you to me. Okay. Your group leader introduces you to me, telling me that you are a skillful engineer having a good knowledge of this game. All right, this is awkward. That's why I had to read it 3 times. We'll talk about it in a minute. I know you're responsible for the development of some typical features of this game, which should be mainly presented during the conference. I believe that you must get familiar with it, being the perfect person to make a presentation during the meeting. So, would you please prepare this presentation for this meeting? If possible, you could make some slides. Okay, so for me, this paragraph had some problems. It now seems to me that you don't know Wency, okay? But your tone here was really rather friendly, okay? Hope this letter finds you well. I'm asking for you to do this. So I assumed that you knew Wency. And then all of a sudden here you wrote, your group leader introduced you to me. So, and I don't even think that's what you meant. I don't think you meant the word introduced. I think you meant suggested. Okay, so your group leader suggested you to me. That makes more sense. But then this whole letter has to be different because you don't know Wency. Therefore, this has to become a formal letter. All right, and it's not. It's kind of semi-formal. So we have to start from the beginning then, okay? I would actually suggest to you not to write this, okay, because it just felt rather strange, and continue it somewhat differently. So, when speaking to your group leader, he reminded me that you are a skillful engineer with good knowledge of this game. Let's see. I knew that you were responsible for the development of some typical features, which should be presented during the conference. Okay, get rid of this sentence. So, would you be able to prepare this for the meeting? If possible, you could make some slides. I am in charge of holding this conference. Before this meeting, I will send an invitation to our manager and some customers and arrange the whole meeting room well. If you have prepared the slides, please send them to me at least 1 day in advance. I will upload them to the computer system in the conference room in advance to make sure everything will work smoothly. I look forward to your response. Full stop. All the best. Okay, so, oh wait, here I am. All right, so basically, Shelly, I thought there was some awkwardness here. I thought, like I told you, I mean, that second paragraph really threw me. It didn't really make a lot of sense. I thought you used a lot of the vocabulary repeatedly, like presentation, presentation, presentation. I thought you used that a lot. Like here, presentation, then presenting a presentation, and then presented, and then presentation, and then presentation. So a lot of that one word. I know what you're probably thinking. You're thinking, Ellen, it's about a presentation. Of course I'm going to use the word. Okay, yeah, that's true. but it felt really repetitive, and that's the problem. So you need to do something to use other words, use synonyms. Just you don't want it to kind of bring attention to it, okay? So let me give you some suggestions. Dear Wency, hope this letter finds you well. I am sure by now you know that our company is holding a conference about our newest online game. In speaking to your group leader, he reminded me that you have been actively involved in the creation of this game. For that reason, I would like to invite you to present about the game at our conference on the 20th of August. Okay, and then you can go into all the other stuff. All right, so it's about setting up the situation appropriately. I didn't feel like you did that. So you gave all these details, which were really rather minor. I thought you should have left them to later. Okay. So it's about setting it up. I found out that you were the best person to do this. So I really wanted to ask you to be involved. I think you'd be wonderful. Let me tell you what's going to happen. Okay. And then you can go into some of those details. All right. So it's essentially about coherence and cohesion. It's about the organization of your ideas. That's what the flaw here is. Okay. So I have to look at where you are in your package. I don't know if this is your last set. I have to see. But if it is the last set, you should know that there are other ways to continue working with us. There are other packages that you can sign up for. So see if that's something you want to do. If we do have more, then great. Let's continue working. Let's continue improving. And I'll be waiting for your next set. So good luck.